Hey guys, it's Maple here once again, and I decided to try and make something of pretty much nothing, a rather crappy unique. Replica Eternity Shroud. I have looked at a few times, and every single time I've looked at it, I was like, nah, that doesn't really do enough. Because it doesn't really make sense to get all Elder items and make enemies have immune, no, chaos resist, sorry, on a poison build. Because chaos resist like that, penetrating all enemy chaos resist, doesn't work well for a poison build. But you do get 5% extra chaos damage from your physical damage per elder item on this item, and I thought maybe I could turn that into a Venom Gyre build, since it doesn't have any flat chaos anymore, and you can just try and scale flat fizz and fizz, and then convert fully to chaos, get a bunch of added chaos, and here we are with a Venom Gyre build, full elder itemed, still basically a conventional poison build, but just scaling a little bit differently from its base. And it's turning out to be pretty damn nice. I think this is the character I've had with the best clear speed so far, and the smoothest clear speed for the league. I'm level 90 at the moment, haven't died to anything, been running lots of like beyond and double beyonds and all that, and all of this gameplay is still on a wasp nest, so it isn't even the actual version of the character, which is running a claw with 60% chance to deal 100% more poison damage. That happens in just a second, but just with Eternity Shroud getting a whole bunch of physical into sort of chaos stuff, so not too much going on there, just an series flask, bit of extra something somewhere. There's really not much to do, which is why it's so suboptimal. Sin's Rebirth, and I'm a Pathfinder, so there's a bit of extra chaos there. Otherwise, yeah, Eternity Shroud, and then just start running all your Elder items, and you get about 50% extra fizz as chaos. I don't even know what to say, because there's not that much intricate shit going on here. It's just Replica Eternity Shroud, Venom Gyre, and then using fizz instead of your conventional chaos stacking, which in the end isn't even going to be that good. So from here, I think we do start using the new claw. This is like double beyond action. You can see that the Pathfinder poison prolif really starts to take off. So a wasp nest and some pretty humble gear gets you started with these poison builds with Cobra Lash, Venom Gyre, which is why I thoroughly always recommend people run a Cobra Lash as a sort of starting character for many leagues now, because it just scales off of its own stuff. And then once you're ready, starting to get into red tier maps, you get a nice poison claw that you can craft yourself, and you can really see Pathfinder prolif starting to take off, like in this map here. Tier 14, I think it is, of my first higher tier maps, and it just starts to melt that prolif all over the enemies, and clear shoots up quite dramatically, because all of a sudden you're occasionally throwing out these 100% more poisons, and they get spread, and if you're lucky for the Beyond bosses and all kinds of other stuff, when they're surrounded by shitty enemies, then you will spread all of the poison from the guys that die onto that one single target. So you can end up dealing some insane amounts of damage to a single target if it's surrounded by other crap. The Pathfinder prolif basically just feels incredible still. It's been a little while since I've done some of this, and it's working real nice for rituals. It's working real nice for the entire game. And as you can see, Venom Gyre does have these spinny blades that shoot out every time you whirling blades, if you've collected a few of these after attacking a bunch. And with the alternate quality Venom Gyre, it has one additional chain, so I'm not spec'd into any pierce, I'm not spec'd into any chain, just that one default from Venom Gyre itself, and it helps clear quite a bit, nicer than having nothing. Not too sure what you do without it, if you're going to do pierce or fork or chain, but at the moment I haven't had the need to do any of that, and it's worked out rather well. Cobra Lash does roughly the same amount of damage, so it's really kind of preference based at this point, and I'll show you all the gear fine-tuned. But even with all of that, unfortunately, I think Replica Alberon's is still the way to go. So I made a Poison Wander with that last league, and it was pretty damn good. It was nerfed the gloves, not the gloves, the boots were nerfed, and they're still, I think, easily best in slot for poison builds. Just from a quick napkin path of building math, I think you get like twice as much poison damage by going full strength and using Alberons compared to this setup that I used to do as much as humanly possible to make a fizz scaling build kind of work. So, oh well, shit. In any case, let's jump into how I've built it. So here we are with the character, level 90 trash replica trash skill. It's not a very good replica unique, at least from what I've seen. It was pretty damn cheap when I started with this, I think 10C. And the skill itself, Venom Gyre, was definitely worse than Cobra Lash. I think it can be competitive at this point. So what we're talking about is Replica Eternity Shroud, 5% of Fizz as extra chaos per Elder item. So basically, best case scenario, we get 50% extra chaos by wearing full Elder gear, and then hits ignore enemy monster chaos resist if all items equipped are Elder items. That doesn't actually interact with like poison. You need lower resists on the enemies as opposed to you ignoring or penetrating chaos res just by the nature of the scaling of the game. So basically, just the poison stuff, 50% extra, not too bad, does something. It does also let us use Blasphemer Grasp, which have 4 damage over time per Elder item, so an extra 40% dot multi. Bit of life on those too, thanks to that. And they're, a little bit better than just crafting your own Elder gloves. These come with Despair on hit, because there's plenty of Corrupted out there. I think I paid like 10C for these, easy clap. And then the rest of the gear is basically just trying to be Elder, but doing some things. So, res, fizz extra chaos here, just chaos.multi and some physical damage to attacks. Crafted my own Elder Steel Rings just through a bit of Harvest, a bit of Essence crafting. I think that one's just pure Essence craft for Int because it is very hard to get Int and Strength on this build. Some Int there, bunch of resists and stuff from an Elder Stygian, which is the most expensive base here. I think 1 Exalt for an Elder Stygian, and then I Harvest crafted the shit out of it. Very nice. And then the final touch is the Claw. We start out with a Wasp Nest, and it's fine. It gets us going. It's very nice. I got up to like level 89. I only just put it on this level actually, I think. And Wasp Nest is fine. It's pretty quick as well. It's got good attack speed, but this really starts to take the build off because that 100% more damage is so potent. It's basically the same level of DPS of Claw, but then you've got twice as much damage a lot of the time. And for prolif, it's pretty damn important to get that 100% more going. So this type of Claw, you just need an Elder, I level 83, and then I was alt-regaling until good stuff happened. I managed to get 1 Claw that looks like this, so Poison, and then regaled into Tempered, sorry. I also got another Claw, don't know if it's on standby at the moment or what. Yeah, that's just Celebration, so attack speed with Poison more. And then I can regal with imprints until I get something good. But I didn't want to go too hard. I just wanted to have what is more or less a little bit better than a basic Claw. Ultimately, it's just a multi-modded fizz, nothing. And the usual Claws like this that you make just with Aberrant, Metallic, and Corroded Fossils. And then you're very likely to hit the Poison mod and a Chaos Damage mod. But those won't have any physical damage. So what we're going for here is Fizz. It's not really that worth scaling Fizz still, unfortunately. You can just get a bunch of flat chaos here, use an added chaos gem, get some added chaos in a few little places like amulets, rings, whatever, and it won't be much worse than what I'm currently doing, sadly. But hey, here we are. And it's working out, and if it's working, then I'm going to pretend like I did everything correct and there's no other alternative. So hey, Replica Eternity Shroud, good stuff. Besides that, we're using just a nice flask setup of Atziri's Flask, 20% Fizz Chaos, Sin's Rebirth, Unholy Might, which I think is 30% Fizz Chaos, Correlator just for the poison duration, we don't care about Perfect Agony, and then yeah, we're a Pathfinder, so we get to chug flasks quite a lot. As you can see, that one took like 6 charges or something, thanks to this node here. Thanks to using 20 reduced flask charges and 8% chance to not consume. Pathfinder's pretty damn juicy. I would recommend it at least one time in your life. The first thing that we got was the prolif because it feels very good. The second thing we got was that to convert the rest of our damage and then get more chaos, and then we started going there. The passive tree, poison builds love cluster jewels. Like, you don't have to go anywhere. Essentially, I started here and then just went assassin or shadow, grabbed a cluster, grabbed another cluster, and that's it. And what you're looking for in your chaos clusters, they're very basic. It doesn't really matter. 3 props if you can, and then you only have to take 2 things. So you got chaos attack speed, chaos damage here, and this one is just chaos attack speed, and the hindering one, not very important what happens on the large clusters. What's a bit more important is what's happening on the medium clusters. So here they are 4 passive or 5 passive chaos over time clusters, and I just use aberrant fossils on them, or you can use harvest craft as well, and you just keep going till you get 2 respectable rolls. In this case, low tolerance, I wanted to get at least 2 low tolerance just for clear speed. I don't think it's really that necessary, especially at this point, but it is pretty nice for the clear speed. So low tolerance combined with anything. And in this case, I got the mana node, and over here I got some damage over time, chaos resist. And down here, I just hit another couple with more aberrant fossils until 2 good results happened. Eternal suffering, so bit of chaos, but also gets withered up on enemies really nicely, quickly, and wasting affliction. And over here is exposure therapy and wasting affliction. Now we do also grab small life passives. Once again, not super important what's happening at the end here. You're just kind of looking for some life, maybe some stats on the small nodes, and then a 8% node at the end would be nice, though a fetal is obviously ideal. So a bit of stats there, bit of life, bit of stats there, bit of life, because it is really hard to get strength and int on this build. I'm still spec'd into this, but I will get rid of it by the time I get my last cluster jewel here, and we should hit about 6k life, which is pretty damn good for not leaving this side of the tree, being a Pathfinder, having infinite flasks, and phase acro. You do also have some good life gain on hit through this stuff. You can get more life gain on hit on your jewels, amulets, rings, got it. And a feast of flesh, and then you can get a lot of life gain on hit, and that's huge amounts of extra sustain. But I've only got this much at the moment, and for general clear, it's actually really thick. It keeps you alive quite nicely. Besides that, basically this is what Venom Gyre does. You throw out a few of these things, some return, and then you can whirling blades and shoot out a bunch of your little gyres. So it helps clear while you're kind of moving to the next pack. And with the current Venom Gyre that is divergent, you can get 1 additional chain. I'm thinking about still putting in a chain support instead of void manip just for clear, and I think we can have really insane clear by doing that, or even a fork. We'll have to wait and see. Current links are Venom Gyre, Unbound Ailments, Vile Toxins, Greater Multiple Projectiles, Deadly Ailments, and Void Manip. And then for single target, probably going to get rid of this and put on like Vicious Proj, some shit like that. Links up here are Wither, Faster Casting, Spell Totem, Multi-Totem. Make sure you are placing these totems on boss fights and anything sort of difficult, and position them in a way where they probably won't die instantly. Second Wind, Dash, Blood Rage, Plague Bearer. Plague Bearer is going to be giving you plenty of nice clear speed, kind of like just a big circle that does additional damage, but it starts to get less impactful in the end game. We then have Herald of Agony, Precision, Malevolence, and Enlighten down here, and Stone Golem, Fortify, Faster Attacks, and Whirling Blades. Probably going to put a Blood Magic here, just so that Whirling Blades is free, and ultimately might get rid of this Chaos just to craft minus mana cost, so that we can shoot out blades much more readily. And the otherwise, Mana Sustain comes from Soul Raker, just for that bit of leech, but you can get some mana gain on hit, get some minus mana cost crafts. Pretty smooth stuff. If you've never played a poison little character like this, really fun, do recommend it. The starting Cobralash character is pretty damn similar, but scaled off of pure chaos instead of fizz into chaos. Or you can go a really big Alberon's Warpath, stack a lot of strength. You can take inspiration from the passive tree that I did on my assassin. Basically, you just go over here, get some strength nodes, some clusters, convert a bunch of your decks into strength, and it should be bigger than this by maybe double. but it's going to be a bigger investment as well. For now, let's just wait and see how we take on endgame. I think the ramp might be kind of difficult for some bosses. We'll have to wait and see. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.